Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So this is the daily races for the week commencing Monday the 29th of August 2022. Well, first we have daily race A, which I was genuinely really excited for when I heard about it. It's the rallycross cars at the brand new Catalunya Barcelona, whatever you want to call it, Rallycross Layout. Now I absolutely love this track, and from the time I spent with it in the single player events, I was genuinely really excited to see the chaos that would unfold for this week's daily race A. So really awesome to see, you know, rallycross cars kind of getting a look in, and the fact that now we've got a proper, you know, dedicated rallycross track in GT7. It's really kind of awesome, and I feel like this may be my go-to race for the week, just for the absolute carnage and genuinely really close racing that takes place here. Now, I haven't actually driven this kind of track, I believe, since like Dirt 2 years ago at this point. So seeing it in GT7, it's kind of awesome, but the lack of a Joker lap really does kind of, I guess, you know, grind my gears a bit, because I feel like it will kind of, you know, stop all the kind of carnage that's going off, sort of ease it a little bit with people having to take a Joker lap, just like in some races where you have to use a certain kind of compound of tyre. It would definitely be awesome to see, and I guess, you know, add a bit more strategy. So in terms of chaos, well, it's definitely here in droves. You may have noticed at the start I was absolutely piled into a wall, so it's all about basically making positions up for the rest of this race. My aim really is probably about P5, so if I can get myself up into P5, which we are going to have a nice little battle with TTV Motive here, you know, I'm going to class that as pretty much a decent run, as I actually set the fastest lap here. Did not notice that, but you know, I'm pretty much on a hard charge here as we're taking a nice nudge from Gr.B behind. So thanks very much for that. He's going to go up the inside. I was going to try and get the undercut and really get a run on him, because I believe I would have probably had a bit of better traction out of there, but sadly not. He's going to allow us to basically go into the back of him if we'd have kept going. So, you know, the position of P5 looking a bit further away. However, we are down the inside of Gr.B here. Now, rallycross cars in real life is a little bit like dirt racing bumper cars, so you know, the collisions and stuff, it's kind of expected. You know, I don't expect ridiculous decisions, but bumping each other as you go through the tight courses, you see it pretty much all the time at rallycross events. If you've ever been to one, it's awesome fun. It's, you know, pretty, you know, on edge racing all the time. You know, the cars are ridiculously fast, and it really does give you that sense of a proper rallycross race. Now we've got a proper official layout, it really does kind of make all the difference in terms of, you know, racing potential for the rally cars. So I'm definitely, you know, excited about this layout. I'm excited about this being a daily race A. So it just all feels just right. So again, we've got on the back of TTV Motive. I'm going to try and get on the inside here. However, he's going to get a better drive out, so he's going to pull just in front of me as we go into this right-hander. However, he's going to go a bit deep, and we're going to try and keep the car nice and clean on the inside, and we are through. He's going to give us a little love tap, and we go into this pretty awkward right-hander, I'd say. You can easily catch that barrier. He's now going to try and get us down the inside, but he just couldn't get the car to rotate enough, and we've got the better driver away. So I'm officially in my target spot of P5, and now I've just got to hold him off. Hopefully I can, you know, I would try and push for the extra positions, but unless they make a mistake, it's looking very, you know, unlikely, considering we've got 2 laps to go, and you know, the times are pretty much equal at this point, as TTV gives us a little bump. However, he's going to run himself into the barrier, so that's going to be him gone, and we're pretty much going to have to settle for P5 at this point, as the rest of the pack leaves us behind. So we did kind of get close to P4, but it just wasn't enough, and we're going to cross the line P5. So after that awful start, it's target achieved. I had huge fun for daily race A. You'll probably catch me in this race quite a bit, so if you do see me, just, you know, say hi. It's kind of nice to get recognized, I guess. It happens a lot more than it used to, and it's pretty weird to get used to, but it's kind of nice to see people that, you know, recognize who I am. So this is the race that is the disappointment of the bunch. Now this is going to be controversial, but I do not think Group 4 racers provide good racing. They are pretty much one mate fest, and for the last couple of weeks it's been the Alfa 155. If you look back to last week, considering I was doing Porsche week, I decided to use the Cayman GT4 and got absolutely nowhere considering how overpowered the Alfa is. So I thought if I can't beat them, I'm going to join them. I didn't do any qualifying again for this one, so I'm starting way back in P14. So with all the cars being pretty much one make bar, I believe there was like one Subaru in the whole race, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to have to basically rely on either people making mistakes or, you know, stuff like that to really get my way up the grid, because we're all pretty much equaled out in terms of performance. You know, I'll probably, you know, do a few overtakes where I can. However, the first mistake of the race, well, that's going to be here as the German now loses traction and off he goes. So we've moved up to P13. It's going to be absolutely chaotic, and I'm really not going to enjoy this race. As you know, as you can tell, the quality of racing in Group 4 is just awful as well. You know, it's just, they seem to provide the most dirty lobbies. You know, it's a 4-lap sprint at Suzuka, so it's not really a massive overtaking track, and I feel like that catches people out with people trying to make really kind of last minute moves thinking there's a gap when there isn't. You know, if you know the Suzuka layout, it's pretty much notorious for not overtaking, as Ragnarok there has gone wide. We're going to see a little bit more of him soon as we stick to the back of Meghan Markle here and try and keep in the slipstream, but with that basically, you know, every car being the same, it's not going to give us a massive advantage to really make a move. Now through here I'm expecting an accident to happen, so I'm thinking, you know, I'll back off, which I guess in a way was a little bit done by me. But I'm going to try and, you know, just avoid as many collisions as I can. If I can keep my nose clean, then I can probably work my way up into the top 10, which I'm right on the, you know, on the cusp of at this point. And we're actually going to have a slow moving car here, so I believe it's going to be a Frenchman. So yeah, it is. So it's CXP, and he's going to be going really slow. So I don't know if he took sort of engine damage from a collision, because I believe damage is on in this race, which I'm going to find out later. So I'm not sure what happened there. So we are into P10, and I can see these pair going at it. So it's collision, collision, and collision. I'm then going to get forced to go kind of on the outside and try and escape this, you know, absolute colossal battle going on here between loads of people. Someone's going to run wide. We're going to try and keep it on track. So I'm trying to keep it clean. I've kept it nice and wide. He's going to bump me, and then we are actually going to get ahead. Now watch Ragnarok here. I'm going to actually look back at this accident later. He's just going to go and punt us into the gravel. Now I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if it was my fault. I'm still sort of unsure, you know, who's at really, you know, fault for that. However, he was behind me, so if he'd have backed off and let me kind of have that corner, I tried to give him as much space as possible in my opinion, and it just didn't work. So I'm really fed up at this point. I'm sat in P13 and I'm thinking, you know what, my race is pretty much done. I'll be lucky if I can get in that top 10. However, we have pretty much got onto the back of the top 10. So we've overtook 4 there. Now we're going to keep an eye on him, because again, disaster is going to strike. The dirty drivers are here in Group 4 in droves like they always are. So just watch this. It's definitely intentional. He just doesn't slow for the corner. Bang, bang. I'm into the back of, I believe, an Austrian there. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. I basically pushed in, and we basically come off worse there, spinning the car around, and we are now dead last. So yeah, not very happy at this point. I'm just fed up of Group 4 cars. I'm, you know, saying every word under the sun. I'm not going to say exactly what I was saying, but it is what it is. However, another accident, this time between a Swiss and a Frenchman. We are going to move our way up to P14. Sadly, it's going to stay that way for the rest of the race, and my daily race B is done, and I am glad it's over. I don't think I'll really be taking part in this event for the rest of the week. It's basically just a very boring one-make race, and the only redeeming quality about it is the fact it's Suzuka. So yeah, disappointing result there. So let's analyse the chaos. So this is on board with Meghan Markle. So we're going to watch what happens. There was contact there with the Austrian. I've then gone to the outside to basically, keep myself there. We've kind of gone side to side. It is touring car races. He's then tried to cut me off. I don't know if he just couldn't see me or what. And obviously I bumped him a bit. He's then going to give me a nudge. I'm going to hit the gravel, but managed to get myself through. And then you're going to see Ragnarok here. He's going to go inside, and it's looking like he didn't even really attempt to make that corner. So I don't know what that's all about. He's basically just punted me off. So yeah, pretty annoying when I look back at that angle. So let's look at it from my angle again. As you can see, it looks a bit different there. I've kind of gone for the corner. He's gone straight when he should really be trying to go left on the inside of me, and I've ended up in the gravel. So let's have a look directly from his onboard. So he's bumped Meghan Markle, and then as you can see, he should really run up towards the left hand side. He's just kept going. I don't know why he wanted to go that wide, considering he's basically side by side with someone a little bit further back, but it is what it is. So this is a really, really good race. I absolutely love it. So this is Daily Race C. It's a Group 3 race at the brand new Barcelona no chicane layout. So really awesome race, and straight away we had insane pace as we used the Mercedes AMG GT3. Now I didn't do much. I think I did one lap of quali before going in here, so that's why we're all the way down in P11. But we're going to get the move done on the BRZ, so that's a nice decent move. That seems to be the meta car, along with probably, I'd say, the Porsche. Now that thing is an absolute bullet, but it's a little bit harder to drive than the likes of the BRZ. So yeah, it's kind of difficult. I'm not really expecting much. I'm kind of expecting a bit of a decent pack race, as we have a Mercedes go off there, I believe, and then all of a sudden I'm going to think, you know what, go for it, and I'm going to send it up the inside of the Porsche. He's going to allow me room, and it's a really, really awesome overtake. So great racing with the Dutchman there. So absolutely awesome to see. Respect between drivers. Decent move. I knew I could get it done. I had the pace, and away we go. So we're already up to P8 from starting, I believe, P11. So we're on the back of Doz here. Now we're going to see a lot more of him throughout this video. So I know the Porsche has got insane straight line speed, but I also know I've got sort of a speed advantage over the likes of like the BRZ. So if I can sort of get a toe off him down the straight, follow him as close as possible, and just make a move where I can, then I will. I saw a bit of an opportunity there, but kind of backed out of it. I thought, do you know what, he's going to move straight over, and he did. So luckily no contact there. Now this is where the no chicane part comes in. We're going to fly around here in third gear, and then we go into this really awkward kind of corner to line up. It's actually sharper than it looks when you come off the no chicane layout. We're going to get a slipstream off of Doz, so we're looking to get into P7 already as we go across the line onto lap 2. We're going to pull out of the slipstream. We're going to get alongside him. We're going to get just ahead of him on the inside of the corner, and we are going to get our move done. Now at this point I'm thinking, do you know what, this is going to be a really good race. So I've got pace. I'm kind of keeping up. I've overtook 2 Porsches and a BRZ, which are essentially really the meta cars for this week, and I'm pretty pretty chuffed with myself as we're in P7, and we're actually going to catch Ted Hackett as we go later on into the next few laps. Now I'm kind of worried because I'm thinking, right, these cars behind me, I need to kind of get a gap going and kind of move up from there. So yeah, I'm thinking, right, what's the best thing to do? I'm going to have to pit, because you do have to use the hard compound tyre at some point, and I'm obviously running the mediums here, so I've got pretty decent pace left. I'm trying to figure out when should I pit stop. Now at this point I'm thinking, do you know what, I'm going to try and do the undercut. So the average pit will probably be lap 5. That's when you'll see most people go in. I thought, you know what, that 5th lap, if I'm pushing this hard, could really be quite detrimental to my time if I'm pushing this hard early on, as that looks like an Audi gone off in the front. So I'm thinking, do you know what, I'm going to pit in on lap 4, okay? So I'm going to try and get the undercut done, and see if we can just jump a few cars as we push out on the hard tyres and go as fast as we can. Now the hard compounder tyres are difficult to get heat in, as we've got a Mercedes run wide there, and I'm absolutely fuming at this point because he's kind of stopped my run there. So I'm actually going to drop back a bit here, but yeah, so I was going to attempt the undercut at the end of lap 4, We are currently on lap 3, so I'm going to try and get this move done on a Mercedes. I'm going to think, you know what, I'm going to think twice about that. I'm going to back out of it. Now, he's going to run a little bit too hard through the corner. The back end's going to wobble, and then he's basically going to run too deep into this corner, and we are going to get alongside him, and we're going to be on the inside line here. So we're equal machinery, we're side by side. Am I going to get the move done, or is he going to go around the outside? He's going to try it around the outside, but again, too deep, and he's just avoided the grass actually, and it's looking like now he's at the mercy of the Porsche, which, like we said, if you can get a decent driver in that, the twitchy handling really will pay off. It has insane top speed, by the way, at this track. You know, down the straight, those Porsches are ridiculous. So again, we're up to P6, and we are still behind Ted Hackett. We fell back a bit due to that little cut-off at the start of the lap. However, we are maintaining our pace very well, and the cars really are actually in quite a decent pack, apart from, I believe, the leader had sort of, you know, pushed out at this point. So yeah, so the leader's pretty much off. That's you know, the Polish guy there. I'm not going to pronounce the name because I don't know the rules over pronouncing stuff like that or saying stuff like that. But yeah, so the Polish guy, he's out in the lead pretty comfortably. The second place backwards to about P4 in a pretty decent bunch. You know, we're not kind of too far apart, pretty all equally spread out. So at this point, I'm thinking, right, this is my last lap. This is where I really need to push and get as much time, you know, off of Ted Hackett as possible if I'm going to want to jump these guys when it comes to doing the undercut. So again, it's one last lap around. We're going to be pretty much gaining on the BRZs down the straight, so that is where my advantage really was in comparison to them. Not necessarily into the Porsches, because, you know, when they are on the straight, they are absolute bullets, and if they get in your slipstream, you can guarantee they're going to pass you by the end of the long straights. Obviously being two of them here, I did find that I did try the Porsche originally, but it was really kind of awkward to get it to go really quickly through the corners. A bit too twitchy for my liking on this track. You know, since update 1.20, I've noticed that the cars seem a little bit more understeery, and if you run the curbs, you're at risk of basically getting caught by a curb and just shoved off. So I'm trying to, you know, just run the curbs that I know I can kind of run and sort of stay off them and try and make up time that way. It might just be me and all be in my head, I feel like, as I practice at this event over the week, because I feel like, you know, Daily Race A and Daily Race C will be kind of my go-to. I feel like I will kind of learn where I can really sort of exploit the limit, you know, track limits. They are pretty close though, because if you run a little bit wide on some of the exits, you're guaranteed to get a penalty. So these two battling up here is really going to slow them down, and that's going to allow me to basically, you know, get on the back of them and just give me a bit of an advantage when it comes to doing the undercut. So if I can basically, you know, blast out ahead of the BRZ and the Porsche using the undercut, I'll be absolutely over the moon. Mainly the Porsche is my target, so that would make me basically go into P4 in terms of, you know, track position. So we're going to box in. We're not going to need to take any fuel, but we are going to need to take the hard compound tire. If you don't, you will receive a minute penalty. So just ensure, if you do your pit stop, jump on the hard compound, and you should be all good until the end of the race. You can start on them and basically go on hard compound to the end, but you may find yourself struggling in terms of pace. Now, the main thing I struggled with was actually getting heat into these things, and it's going to cause me to not have the ideal opening lap. So there was like a few occasions where I just couldn't get the power down going out of the corners, and it kind of, you know, cost me a bit of time. However, it still seemed pretty okay in terms of getting the undercut done. So I was hoping, you know, am I going to jump anyone? You know, I can see a few guys, you know, starting to pit now. This is the main pit stop window. Ted Hackett stayed out, so I'm unsure what compound he's actually on. I believe he was on the mediums. So we've done the undercut on Doz, and there is the Porsche that we were just behind. And sadly, because the opening lap wasn't quite as fast as I was hoping, we've actually ended up behind the Porsche again. However, we are pretty close at this point. But this driver, though, he seemed very competent in that Porsche, and he's basically going to use the power advantage to pull away. So definitely I saw a pace reduction as we go a little bit deep there, so a little tiny lock, and yeah, so in terms of pace, I found that the Mercedes was very, very quick and very, very good in terms of its pace on the medium compound. However, when I swapped to the hards, like I said, my opening lap wasn't great. But even, you know, as we continued in, it took a good few laps to really get a feel for the hard compound. It's definitely a different feeling in the Mercedes. I don't know if it's kind of different for, you know, the more meta cars like the Porsche or the BRZ. Who knows? I haven't really tested those mainly in a proper race. I did a few quali laps in the Porsche, and while it was quick, it was just a bit too twitchy. Now here is the move that is going to absolutely ruin any pace I had. Does. What were you thinking, my guy? Seriously. He's going to get a 2-second penalty for that, and rightfully so. So I'm really, really angry because I felt like, you know, I could have even undercut some of the cars that had stayed out even longer. However, it just wasn't meant to be. You know, I'm absolutely furious. I'm thinking, what was that? You know, if you look at that, we'll kind of analyse it a bit more after the race. But if you just look how far back he is, I don't know why he didn't either just brake earlier or just follow me around. Like, you can see I'm going into the corner and he's basically just gone straight on. Now he's going to get my slipstream here. He's going to pull out alongside me, and I'm thinking, yeah, well, I could be dirty, but I'm not going to be. He's actually going to back out of the move, so I don't know if he was thinking, you know, I was going to take him out. But I managed to get around there cleanly. He didn't hit me this time, as we can see a Mercedes in P5. So we've actually, you know, lost quite a bit of time really. So we were actually, I believe, ahead of this Mercedes here, and we've dropped behind him after his pit stop. And then again, just, you know, absolute race ruin. Tyres are shot, you know, not in the best condition. Obviously I pitted earlier, and that's going to allow the Porsche of the Dutchman from earlier to go through, who we made that awesome move on. So again, he's done a nice, decent, clean move on me, so well done to him. He definitely had the extra pace in there. We are going to hang on the back of him, but as soon as we get to the straight, he is gone. So definitely, you know, the twitchy handling of the Porsche really does allow you to get better angles through, where I feel like the Mercedes is a lot more kind of flat in terms of its turning. It's very kind of stuck to the track. There's no real movement at the rear end. It's definitely a very stable car. However, the twitchiness of the Porsche and the, you know, straight line speed and acceleration is definitely a match towards sort of like the BRZ, which seems to be excellent on its, you know, fuel economy and its tyre life. The Porsche not so much in terms of sort of tyre life, but it seems to be able to make tyres work better. It might just be me. It might just be my head, who knows, but it did seem like when I was even trying the Porsche out that it was, you know, very, very good in terms of getting maximum grip out and maximum speed down the straight. So Dodds is going to try it again here. So he's alongside me. He hasn't managed to kind of, you know, get properly alongside me. I'm ahead. I'm going to try and give him a bit of space, and he's going to go up the curb. He's going to then, you know, bump into me. I'm then going to force him wide. So at that point, you know, I'm just thinking, just back out of it, and he didn't. He's hit the gravel, he's hit the side of me, and again, he's made contact. Now, he did apologise at the end of the race. However, you know, it's just not good enough. I'm fuming at this point because, again, a good run has gone bad. As we go on the final lap, the tyres are just not feeling great. We've, you know, had a bit of a moment there, just gone a bit too deep, and now we're going to be starting to get caught by a McLaren, a BRZ, a Porsche, and another BRZ. So yeah, definitely frustrating. So as you can see, Doz is actually the car behind the McLaren here, and it's just going to be an absolute dirt fest at the end. It really kind of ruined the whole experience I had in my first stint. It just felt like I'd just come out at the wrong time and just ended up with all the kind of back of the grid dirty players, especially at this point. You know, there's 15 cars left, and it seems like everyone's just a bit dirty around here. As the McLaren, he's going to bump me a little bit. That's going to cause me to go wide. It was only a slight touch, and that's where we're going to pick a time penalty up. So I'm thinking, oh, do you know what? This race, it just cannot get any worse. As Doz just decides to go on the side of the McLaren's then going to bump him back, as you can see. It's just ridiculous at this point. So I've got the time penalty for a cut, even though I was kind of nudged off, but, you know, I'll just take it. And then I'll admit here, I did essentially just block him off because I can see the boat just being dirty, and I'm thinking, you know, whatever. And he's then going to hit Doz, and that's going to be the end of daily race C. Sadly, the pace was really there into the top 5 early on, and somehow we've just ended up P12 with that penalty. So I'm just absolutely fuming. But genuinely early on was so entertaining. I really felt like I had pace. So let's look at that infamous Doz move. So he's way back, he just goes straight on and hits the rear end. You know, he's not even made or tried to make the corner, as we both took the damage there. He's going to get a 2-second penalty for that. So I just don't get what the thinking was behind that. He's just basically gone straight on. So let's have a look at the next Doz move. So this is where we're alongside. I've pulled ahead. I'm pretty much a whole car length ahead here. He's going to try and outbrake me. We're going to go side by side. I'm not going to give him too much room. I'll admit that. I'm then going to, basically try and get him to back out. He doesn't. He wants to keep his foot to the floor. He's hit the gravel. He's hit me. And, that's pretty much both our races done. I really thought he would have learned after that move to basically back out of that move, but he didn't, so, ended up in contact. It is what it is. And here's his other move. He's going into the side of McLaren. Again, another really kind of late, confusing move that I don't understand why he did. The McLaren's going to hit him. He's going to hit him again and basically use him to take the corner and get a better run. And then it's all going to kick off. I'm going to just use that little cheeky block. The McLaren's going to hit me, and then purposely he hits Doz. So in a way, karma, but he did apologise. It is what it is, really. So let's have a look at USA Andy. So this is where Doz makes the move and hits him. Now the McLaren's going to, you can see he's trying to take him out, trying to spin him, and then he's just going to use him to take the corner. That's going to allow him to basically get a decent run through. And then this is where I'm just going to sort of slightly use myself to block him. It is what it is. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. And then he knows Doz is there, and he takes him straight out. So yeah, just the end of this race, the second half, just absolute dirt fest. So my favourite onboard of the week, well, it's this move on the Porsche early on lap 1. That awesome clean move, absolutely awesome racing with the Dutchman there. So really enjoyed that one. I absolutely love the onboard of just how I got that move done. Again, another one is the side-by-side with the Mercedes, the Italian, and it's again going to be another awesome move as we battle all the way into, through 2 corners, I guess, really. We're both side-by-side on the drive out. We're going to, he's going to go a little bit deep there on the outside, and we're going to get that move done again as Doz then gets on the back of him. So absolutely love those onboard shots. So again, let's look at our overtake of the week, and it's going to be from Daily Race C. Obviously, it's this awesome move, and I felt like I really got that move done, and really, it just felt awesome. That's what racing's about: respect between drivers, allowing, room and stuff, and just having fun. Really, really impressed with that one. So that is our daily races for the week. Let me know what you think. Personally, I absolutely enjoy them. Maybe not Daily Race B. I cannot stand Group 4 at the minute. It's so just one makey, and I hate that. Hopefully Polyphony look at balancing every single group car, so Group 4, Group 3, so we get a more diverse kind of selection of vehicles on the grid instead of like 1, 2 or 3, but in Group 4's case it's one single car. Daily Race A, awesome. Nice to see Rallycross getting proper treatment in this game. Daily Race C, absolutely wonderful Group 3 racing. Shout out to our channel members, Mr. Wilmot, Vincent and Ticketbait. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to be a channel member, feel free to join. Donation links are in the description down below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It really helps me out in the algorithm. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers guys. Peace.